It's August the 19th, 1965, and in Kingsway Hall, a Methodist church in central London, a 20-year-old woman is about to make recording history.
The tension that Jackie created was so extraordinary, on that double stopping at the opening of the Elgar Cello Concerto, one was electrifying. One knew that this was going to be a great event.
Music critic Edward Greenfield had been invited to hear the young English cellist Jacqueline du Pré record the Elgar Cello Concerto in E minor with the London Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Sir John Barbirolli. Du Pré wasn't a household name, but her star was rising. A child prodigy, she'd already performed the piece in concert to rave reviews. This, though, would be the first time she'd recorded it. Wearing a short-sleeved dress with her blonde hair loose, she'd arrived at the hall without fanfare. Dennis Wick was principal trombone in the orchestra.
This was just another recording session. We were playing those almost every day. And this young lady came, and John Barbirolli came on and introduced her. So I'd never heard of her. And after we'd heard her play, we began to realise, even the hard-bitten LSO of 1965 began to realise that this was not just another cellist. This was something rather special.
Why was it special?
Well, in the Elgar Concerto, it starts off with a solo, with these marvellous triple stop chords. And the kind of passion and brilliance that she brought to those opening chords, you can hear to this day. And it didn't take very long for people's ears to be pinned back.
Was it quite a serious atmosphere?
Well, she was like an overgrown schoolgirl. It was interesting. We had a very fine principal double bass player, Stuart Nusson, was talking with her, and I looked up, and there she was, holding his double bass, playing it, just to see what it felt like, I suppose. And I thought, what a crazy thing to be doing for someone who's needing all the sensitivity of the cello bow, sort of crashing away with a double bass bow. And she did, and laughed and thought it was very funny and very interesting, and, well, a few eyebrows were raised at that point. But any misgivings we might have had were completely, overcome when we heard her play.
And as striking as her sound was the way she played, as Edward Greenfield remembers.
People objected that she threw herself around because she had long blonde hair, and her hair was always sort of going all over the place. But her actions were very much in tune with the music. The music moved her so greatly at the time that she couldn't control her movement. But I always found it the more moving because, one moved with her. She was so special, so charismatic in every way. Really was a fantastic occasion, and everyone realised. I remember the members of the orchestra were not an easily impressed lot, but my goodness, their applause was absolutely heartfelt at the end of the scherzo. I remember they were just bowled over by this extraordinary magnetic personality.
Dennis Wick remembers applauding.
This was quite an extraordinary event because the LSO were a tough lot and we'd heard the best players. Of course we had. But she had something rather more than you'd expect from an international virtuoso. She had a kind of energetic innocence, you might say. She was wrestling with the cello. She was really hair flying in all directions, putting tremendous effort into it, and it showed. And the quality of her sound was extraordinary.
The recording became a huge hit for the record company EMI, and du Pré became an international star. She married the pianist and conductor Daniel Barenboim, but just a few years later, at the height of her career, tragedy was to strike. She started to suffer from fatigue. She complained her hands could feel numb. She was initially diagnosed with exhaustion and took time off. But by 1973, at a concert in New York, it was clear something was seriously wrong.
The rehearsals had been very difficult. I didn't feel in command of the bow. Various areas of my body were numb. I couldn't feel the strings and things like that. I remember arriving at Philharmonic Hall and suddenly not being able to open the cello case. And I thought, what is wrong? What is this problem? At the concert itself, I walked on stage, not knowing where G was, where C was, and not knowing what sounds were going to come out or how I would find them.
She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, a neurological condition which damages the nervous system. She never played in public again. At the age of just 28, her performing career was over. Her physical condition worsened over the next decade, and she died at the age of 42. But her friend, the critic Edward Greenfield, remembers that long after she could no longer play the cello, she would seek solace in the past glories of her old recordings.
Over the first few years, she was so optimistic, it was an exhilaration too. And then suddenly she took a nosedive and it was total depression. And the only thing which would bring her back a little from her total depression was hearing her old recordings.
I do play them sometimes, and it does give me pleasure because it is so much second nature to me that if I put on a record, it's almost as if I were back there doing it again. It's a great source of comfort and refreshment.